Now we're live again. Hello.
Sorry about that, everybody. So, good afternoon, and welcome back to Five Nations playoffs in Stoke-on-Trent. Sunny Stoke-on-Trent.
Sunny Stoke-on-Trent. Don't know. We're inside. Who knows what the weather's like?
Who knows? We can't see daylight. So this is game 6 of today already, and we've got Newcastle Canny Belters playing Sheffield Steel Roller Derby.
And lining up for Newcastle, who are wearing black for this game, is 000 Drama Bomb, 028 Smash, 1038 Fraulein Katastic, 11 Helen Drew, 2122 Julia, 22 The Rottweiler, 27 Hit 1 Pearl 1, 314 Lucy, 495 Eradicate, 540 Charlotta Payne, 5678 Darcy Tussle, 66 Joe Berserk, 79 Spangled, 82 Shred, and 91 Pretty Skate Machine.
And skating out in the orange for Sheffield Steel Roller Derby, we have 03 Wince, 11 Kit Kat, 19 Just Dan, 2011 Kel on Wheels, 203 Kirk, 27 Infamy, 33 Betty, 333 Invincible, 418 Gemma, 496 Cherry Thunder, 5 Madge Juicer, 6 Luna Trick, 713 Rosensplats, 77 Comic Slams. That is your teams for this game.
And this game is a Tier 2 semi-final, so the winner of this game will be promoted to Tier 1 and go into the final tomorrow to see who gets the big shiny trophy.
And that's our last game of the weekend, that game. That will be at 4 o'clock tomorrow on this track. So we've got 2 lineups of blockers and 2 jammers ready to start. We've got about 15 seconds to Derby.
And we have Lucy in with the star for Newcastle. And it is Comic Slams with the star for Sheffield. And we are underway.
Oh, that was a really quick lead jammer for Lucy.
Wow, that was a couple of seconds, and Lucy is lead jam for Newcastle.
So these are not 2 teams that I have seen play yet. I've just been handed a sheet of paper from our producer that says Lucy's the top jammer for Newcastle so far with 100% lead percentage.
From the group stages.
From the group stages. It was an actual factual fact. I thought it was just a joke. It's a good one.
Wince was the second rated jammer as well from group.
So Lucy racking up another scoring pass there already, 12 points up on the board, and we're less than a minute into this jam, and Lucy's already put 12 points on the board for Newcastle. Comic Slam still on initial, looking for the star pass to the pivot, who is very sensibly staying towards the front of the pack.
Oh, and a big hit there. And that's enough to make Lucy go, I'm going to call that.
Yes,
16 points is enough.
All right, fair enough, fine, I'll stop. Yeah, 16 points, that is a statement in that first jam.
Good way to get out and start, isn't it?
Yeah,
nice.
That's putting your stamp on the game. I did look at flat track stats yesterday, trying to be prepared and professional, and they did have, I think, Newcastle with something like a 95% chance of winning this game. But I do know Sheffield Steel are also a very tough team.
So it's Spangled up, no it's not, it's Darcy Tussle up against Wince.
Solid tripod at the front there from those Sheffield Steel blockers. But Darcy tussling with them, but that's lead jammer for Wince. Somebody's been given a multiplayer.
We're told by our producer, Wince was the second
the top jammer for Sheffield.
Second top jammer in Tier 2 this season, showing their great skill to get lead jammer and also running this jam. Both teams picking up 4 and a lovely apex jump. Yes, they landed that and they picked up 4 points.
I'm going to go out and say that was an apex fly, not an apex jump. That was nearly turn 3 and turn 4 simultaneously.
Finding the space on the outside. being told to run this, keep going by their bench coach.
Smart choice there with 2 blockers in the penalty box to run the jam and get those blockers out. You might give away a couple of points in this jam in order to do that, but you are then able to give yourself a chance of getting back in control in the following jam rather than starting the jam with a 2-blocker deficit, which is now what Newcastle are going to have to do.
Newcastle will start with the 2. That was 11 points to 12 in favour of Sheffield that last jam, so they gained 1 point.
But now they're starting with a blocker advantage rather than a blocker deficit. So a little extra Brucey bonus there for them to get their blockers out and...
So a chance for... Looks like they're going to set up with a tripod at the back to hold the Newcastle jammer, who is Eradicate, whilst Infamy for Sheffield will be looking to get some offence from that front blocker. Just trying to clear that two-wall, because even a 2-wall can be effective. So, going to need that offence there, just a nice try and clear something quickly to get...
At this level of roller derby, two blockers on their own can hold a jammer. Some really solid T-walls. So
it is Newcastle who get through the 4-wall of Sheffield.
Well, that's just put us to shame, hasn't it?
and also saying, as you said, a 2-wall can hold a jammer.
They are doing a great job of holding Infamy.
Yeah, and that is a drama bomb for Newcastle.
Lovely little hop over the apex there to get through, star in hand. Yeah, Newcastle calling off the jam before Sheffield can put any points on the board. So 3 up in that jam for Newcastle. So 30 points, plays 12. We're only 4 minutes in. So this is lining itself up to be quite a high-scoring game. We've had a few relatively close or low-scoring games today. Even the games that have had a bigger differential, it's still been kind of 4 points, 4 points, 4 points in each jam, and we've been hitting half-time with scores that are not too different from where we are already in this game.
Another lead jam for Newcastle.
Or big takedown to the outside there from number 8-2 Shred.
Knocking comic slams to the floor on the outside.
And we've had a star pass. Oh, good awareness. I thought for a second I saw that toe go over the line. I thought that was going to be a cut track, but really good awareness, recycling back.
So it is Kirk for Sheffield who's taken the star.
A really good job getting out there as well. I've seen a couple of star passes today where the pivot's got trapped behind the wall again, and that's sad times. That is just not where you want to be as a pivot.
And the Rottweiler calling that before Kirk can get round for any points. So good star pass. Got the star out the pack.
Yeah, holding Newcastle there to just 4 points in that jam. So really good use of the star pass, really quick. Good toe stop work on that inside line for Kirk to get out.
And we will see Wince up against Lucy, so the top 2 jammers from this season coming up against each other. Starting with an empty penalty box, so both those jammers are going to have to try and get through 4 of their opponents.
So the team that don't win this game will play again tomorrow against the second place team from the next game. So everybody gets to play another game this weekend. Lucy now on a scoring pass up at the front, just ducking and diving around that wall as Manchester picks up a penalty.
There's a multiplayer there for Madge.
And we had another star pass from Sheffield, but not before we get another 4 points on the board for Newcastle. So 8 points in that jam for them. 45 plays 12. So Sheffield have only scored in 1 jam so far. They scored all of those 12 points in jam 2.
And that is the only one they got lead in as well, wasn't it? So
yeah.
Newcastle holding Sheffield to 0 when Newcastle get lead. That is spangled up against infamy in this jam, and once again Newcastle get the lead. Let's see if Sheffield get out. Star is off, looking, trying to get that pass again. This time Kell on wheels is the pivot. A Star stash. The jammer is through with the Star in their hands.
Yeah, the pivot was looking for the Star pass, but then had to switch back to defence, help the other blockers out with the jammer.
Good work there from Luna Trick, just getting the Newcastle jammer off track, making them decide to call it as the Sheffield jammer was coming around on their scoring pass.
Yeah, really good. There no points on that last scoring pass with that takeout, so just 4 points up for Newcastle in that jam. It's quite calm so far, quite kind of teams still sussing each other out a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, and not been too many penalties. I think we've seen a few go to the box, but you know, we're 7 jams in now.
We had that one jam with a lot of block penalties, didn't we?
Oh
and
yes, they've been like a big kind of
so far
turn around there, but good. But
yeah, 2 penalties for Newcastle and 3 for Sheffield so far. So obviously we know penalties can make quite a big difference to a game. You can be the best team out, clearly the stronger team out there, and be being successful, but if you keep losing people to the box,
yeah, you get in that spiral sometimes, and it's just you overcommit to try and make up for the fact that there's only 2 of you on track, and you kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do something awesome here, and then you do,
yeah,
but you don't do it legally.
Yeah, it can turn into a sport. You start a jam
Yeah.
with 2 people, and those 2 people feel like they've got to really start throwing things to keep the jammer on behind them, and yeah.
That was another 6 points for Newcastle in that jam, taking them to 55. We have an official review called by, that'll be Newcastle that have called that.
That's an early one. There's Riggs, little trot into the middle to go and find out what's going on, and we will let you know. Newcastle have had lead in 6 out of 7 jams. So yeah, that one that Sheffield scored in, and of course they put up 12 points in that jam, but I think that was the jam when Newcastle put up 11
yeah,
in the same jam, because they chose to run the jam to get their blockers out of the box, which was the right thing to do. So Newcastle very firmly at this point in control of the game.
And taking their official review fairly early as well, only less than 9 minutes into the game. They feel
they must feel quite, as a bench coach, I think I would have to feel very confident to be calling an official review this early. I don't want to say that we haven't had any jammer penalties yet, because I did that in game 1 and then we had a jammer penalty, and I don't want anyone to be mad at me for causing things to happen, because I am magic.
So Newcastle are wanting to call a cut on the Sheffield jammer.
I think I might know. So the Sheffield pivot turn jammer, I think, went down, foot went out on the inside of the track. But I think the blocker that was in front of them at the time then had been called on a penalty.
Right, okay.
So I wonder if that's what, I might be completely wrong, it might be something completely different, but that's what I thought was the case.
So we're up here, we can talk about these things.
Yes.
You know,
however,
we can take an educated guess at what's going on. We don't.
If the officials think something different happened, then that's definitely correct, because there might have been another blocker that ran back, I don't know. Interestingly, Newcastle, so we have a juniors game tomorrow. We have 2 juniors games tomorrow, which is very exciting. And one of them is Newcastle juniors team, and Smash, who is playing for Newcastle today, Newcastle adults team right now, 028, has a kid playing in the juniors game.
Excellent.
So it's a family sport.
It is. So my youngest is off to Australia next year with the Team GB juniors. So that's where the World Cup is, in Brisbane next year. So the juniors that are playing tomorrow, a lot of those are getting ready to head over the other side of the world to represent Team GB.
How cool must that be? Your kid gets to go to school and be like, I'm sorry, miss, I can't come to school next week. I'm playing in the World Cup.
Yeah.
They're like, I feel like you can't be mad about that. Like,
but it's actually during the school holidays. It's during the summer holidays, so they don't get.
Okay, fine.
Can't get out of school, but they still get to go to Australia.
What did you do in your school holidays?
Yeah.
Played in the World Cup. What sport? Never mind. So that is the Rottweiler picking up lead for Newcastle. Just check and see. So they didn't win that official review.
There's no jammer in the box, and so
I didn't really need to check my messages, did I? There were two. Wow. There was a really early meeting this morning. I'm tired. Okay.
It's been up a long time.
And then I had chips, and now I'm sleeping. So that was a quick hit it and quit it jam. Don't think any points went. No, is that one?
1 point to Newcastle.
Point.
So Newcastle maintaining that every time they get lead, they score, and every time they get lead, Sheffield has not scored. Our next lineup sees Lucy against Infamy, with Newcastle starting with a blocker in the box. And it is Newcastle who get lead Lucy, but Infamy is hot on her tail. Out very quickly afterwards. And chasing down the Newcastle jammer, who calls that.
Did we get any points? Newcastle were quite good there at splitting up the Sheffield blockers and not allowing them to form any kind of
one more point.
Coherent tripod.
Yeah, there was just one blocker kind of held at the back, which was enough for Newcastle to pick up their 1
Good
point.
tactics. You only need one. You only need to win every jam 1 point to none, or by 1 point. That's what we need. We don't need 20-point jams. Nobody needs that.
But we like to see it.
We do love to see it. I love to see it.
And Comic slams quickly down the inside. A very quick lead jam for Sheffield, but Spangled is out and chasing them down.
So Sheffield's turn now to hold a blocker at the back. So it looks like we might be running this jam long.
And Spangled being recycled, so Comic Slams is coming around on another scoring pass, who then decides to call it.
That seems like a good choice to run that jam there, because actually Sheffield were holding that jammer really well. I think they could have possibly tried their luck a little bit running that jam a bit longer, but I suppose you don't necessarily want to take risks. An 8-point jam, that brings them back to a 37-point differential. 7-point jam and 4 for Newcastle, which suddenly makes the maths more difficult, but that's fine. I can do maths. That's 42.
42 points. Yeah.
The answer to life, the universe, and everything. So, still not that big of a difference.
Yeah, I think because the jammer had just been knocked out and they were going to have to be recycled back, that it's like, well, I've got to do all this again. Let's just call it. I've got more points than the other jammer at the moment. Let's not fight it.
And let's save our energy at this point in the game when we know we're going to have to play again tomorrow. So we've got 2 blockers in the penalty box at the moment, 1 from each team, both with forearms penalties.
And Sheffield picking up points on a Newcastle lead jam. So that's the first time Sheffield have picked up points when Newcastle have got lead.
I think that call-off came just in time, but let's...
The
jam ref, who has a much better view of things than we do up here.
Yeah, and that's staying at 4 points, so there was no points in that second scoring pass for Sheffield.
So 4 points apiece in that jam.
It's our first tied jam. We have an official timeout called now.
There's some hopscotch or Irish dancing happening on the jam line. That's very energetic.
Infamy just doing it, giving us a little bit of river dance there on skates.
It was a very quick official timeout.
So both jammers lining up on the far side of the track. And then, Infamy trying to sneak down the inside, getting through with a no pass, no penalty.
So first jammer out, but not lead jammer. So lead jammer status still open for Lucy.
So Lucy has got lead. What's Lucy going to do? Lucy is going.
Somebody's got a penalty
with a question mark against it. So we'll wait and see what that's for. Oh, straight through the middle there. Lucy picking up 4 points for Newcastle.
So have Newcastle not realised that they've got lead jammer, or are they just running this jam long to try and extend the points differential? Oh, that was a big hit.
And that's another hit just to the outside. I think that, there's a forearms penalty called there for that push to the outside.
Yeah, you got to watch that one. I myself have never done a forearms penalty in my life. Angry tweets from my teammates incoming.
I've never done one, but the referees have always seemed to find one.
So Newcastle had 9 out of 11 lead jams, which I think is now 9 out of 12 lead jams, but Newcastle still in control at this point, I think. Lovely bit of toe-stop work from Comic Slams down the inside line. That was lovely. It's always the one you've got to watch because you think they've done beautiful toe-stop work, and the referee spotted their half a wheel touch the floor over the line at some point, and they go no. But that one was good.
Big hit there from Drama Bomb, just taking Comic Slams off as they were coming round on a scoring pass.
Yeah, that Newcastle tripod up there is solid and mobile. They're strong, but they are covering the full width of that track, and they are not shy about recycling those jammers back again and again and again, and that is demoralising.
Yeah, and Sheffield are doing the same to Spangled as well there.
See, I maintain jamming looks like no fun. Why would you choose to do that?
That was a 2-point jam for Sheffield and a 3 points for Newcastle. So whilst it was a Sheffield lead jam, Newcastle came out of that better. Very good defensive work from both sets of tripods. Held those jammers on their scoring passes for a good 30-40 seconds. So just demoralised them enough to go, no, I can't do this anymore.
I'm done. I'm sad now to sit down. So we've got one Sheffield blocker, speaking of sitting down, is in the penalty box. A 4-3 pack advantage for Newcastle. Big, just 7-person pack happening on track here. Big chaos. But Wince emerges victorious from the chaos as lead jammer. The Rottweiler is shown the floor on the outside line by the Sheffield steel blockers. Nice bit of offence there on the outside line.
And a low block on Helen Drew there, just as the Sheffield jammer went over on her skate. And then round on next scoring pass, it calls that one. Newcastle were able to pick up 1 point. Sheffield picked up 6.
So not a big scoring jam for Sheffield there, but that felt like quite an important jam for them. That felt more like Sheffield were very much in control of that jam.
I mean, we spoke, the score was 42 difference 4 or 5 jams ago, and it's now 41. So they've evened it out. They've stopped kind of that flow of points, and they've just got lead jam again. So they're starting to find their way into this game, find out the best way to control the Newcastle jammers.
Yeah, they're starting to get the measure of Newcastle a bit now, aren't they? Their jammers are starting to find weaknesses in those walls. The offence is starting to settle in now. I think sometimes in the first few jams of the game, it's easy to kind of just go, well, look, we'll focus on defence.
Yeah.
Now the offence is coming in, jammers are getting lead.
Drama Bomb picking up a forearms penalty there from Ref Leopard. So Sheffield choosing to run the jam and try and hold the Newcastle jam, I think.
Which they're doing quite successfully so far. And yeah, Infamy is just running laps around Newcastle at the moment. Like, I don't know if she's scoring points or just doing 27 and 5, to be honest.
Oh, that taken to the outside by Smash.
It keeps confusing me because one of our fellow announcers is called Smash.
Yes.
Don't think he should be playing in this game.
I'm pretty sure the shades he wears aren't considered legal wear during gameplay either.
Only at Eastbourne Extreme. So this is a massive jam now for both teams. 20 points up so far from Sheffield still, and 16 for Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle got back into that one. Sheffield were
21.
kind of like 12 points ahead on the jam score, and actually ended up with just 4 points difference.
But again, when they feel like they're in control of it, sometimes it's, you know, what they're saying to the other team. We're choosing to run this jam, we're choosing this, and actually we are going to tire you out. We're going to wear your jammers out, because if you feel like you've got a good stamina and you've trained for stamina and you think, actually, we're just going to make them work really, really hard in the first half and hope that we can capitalise on that in the second half. And that big jam now makes that points differential. 30 points when it's 40 plays 10 seems like a big amount, but 98 plays 61.
And you know, it gives your jammer confidence as well. That jammer knows they can go out there and score 21 points.
Yeah, it's a real good confidence boost when you're just running laps around the blockers. Very upsetting for the blockers when they're doing it. Very frustrating. So we've got another official timeout happening. So our current game on track 1 at the moment is Wirral Pack Animals versus Chaos Engine, which is our first MRDA game of the weekend. They are playing for a spot in MRDA Tier 2.
I can't see the score from here. I don't know if you can. Or
I can see that it is 48 to 134. I think that's Chaos Engine with 48.
Yes, Chaos with 48.
And Wirral Pack Animals with 134.
So as that stands, that will be Wirral being promoted from Tier 3 to Tier 2, and Chaos going down from Tier 2 to Tier 3.
And then our Tier 1 MRDA playoff game is the next game on that track, and that will be Southern Discomfort versus Kings of Block and Roll. So Southern Discomfort playing to keep their space in Tier 1, and Kings playing to earn promotion from Tier 2 to Tier 1.
You know, Kings have had a great season. We played against them earlier on, and they were really strong and did really well to come second in that tier. They really progressed from the season before, and I think it'll be a really good game them against Southern Discomfort. But here we are. We're here to talk about Newcastle against Sheffield now. Now that official review is over. It's going to be Comic Slams for Sheffield up against Lucy, as Newcastle starts with Drama Bomb in the box.
So Lucy, the highest scoring jammer so far for Newcastle, has put up 37 points for them out of 98. And the highest scoring jammer for Sheffield so far is Infamy, who's put up 29 points. And to be fair, 20 of those were in the last jam.
But just saying, you know, it gives her the confidence now that she can go out there and get points.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it gives the whole team confidence. Actually, we can bring this back. This isn't actually that bad. This isn't a big difference. This is fine. And we'll start putting that seed of doubt into Newcastle.
Newcastle picking up 7 on that jam.
So not that much of a seed of doubt. Like.
That does take them into triple figures. That's 105 for Newcastle with a 44-point lead, just over or just under 10 minutes of the first half remaining.
Oh, Eradicate. I don't think we've seen them on the jammer line so far, have we?
We have seen Eradicate a few times.
I haven't paid attention. I do apologise.
This is third time.
Oh, right. Okay. I take it back. I was just checking you were all still paying attention.
Third time they've got lead, or is that the second time they've got? Fourth jam jammed, and they've made just gliding through offense there, just clearing a path through the centre of the track, getting Eradicate through to pick up 4 points. As Wince removes the star, just trying to hide that because her pivot is far behind her in a tripod at the moment, trying to keep Eradicate at the back.
Yeah, I think the bench coach now calling to, that is Madge Juicer, I think the pivot for Sheffield still, to say, maybe can you go and take a star pass? There we go. Lovely star pass that was.
Textbook. Get the star to the front and get it out.
Somebody should write a roller derby textbook. You can give it to your friends and family for Christmas. This is what I do.
It's back-to-back 7-point jams for Newcastle. That takes them to 1-1-2.
So Sheffield sitting on 61. So a couple of scoreless jams for Sheffield, opening that lead up a little bit for Newcastle. 8 minutes left in this half, so it'll be quite important now, I think, for Sheffield as we move towards half-time to try and claw this back a little bit, which Infamy looks like she is very much of the same mindset as me.
Infamy in the lead. Be interested to see if they go with the same tactic of running this. Spangled already out and not far behind, has just been knocked to the inside and been recycled. But Infamy fighting at the front and gets through.
Lovely little switch to the inside there to find that space. Push hard, make those blockers dig in and then change direction.
So I think Sheffield are going with, when we've got lead, we're going to try and pick up as many points as we can rather than points difference. I think they'll rather win this by 17 to 12 and get 5 points more than win it 4-0 and call it straight away.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think as long as they can maintain that differential, if you're winning the jam by 4 points either way, then let's make them work for it. Make them tire them out, put some doubt in their heads. So we have had, I don't know if we've had anything called, but we've definitely got a bench coach having a conversation with the head. Team timeout.
Sheffield calling a team timeout.
I think that's a really good choice actually at this point in the half, especially given what I was just saying. This is your right. Let's go out. Let's try and put some points on the board. Let's try and bring this differential back to more like 20, 30 points as we go into half-time. If you can really get those last 2 or 3 jams of the half and put your stamp on them, put that doubt into the opponent's head as they're going into half-time and give yourself some confidence.
Yeah, so it's a 49-point difference at the moment, and it was, say, 42 10 minutes ago. So Newcastle have only put 7 more points in the difference. Sheffield are starting to really kind of get into this game and grind it. They just need that next little bit to keep Newcastle down. When Sheffield get the lead, just get the Newcastle jammer locked down, because they can do it. They just need to once Sheffield are lead, really need to kind of kick in and dig deep.
Yeah, just need to bring it back. It's interesting you say that about that 7-point difference, because I think that's sort of, to me now, that looks like a much bigger differential, and I think that's the thing with the teams, isn't it? You suddenly go, oh, okay, and I don't know if they've got somebody sitting there passing them Post-it notes with the score difference on and tracking everything for them. Maybe they have.
Some bench crews do. Some will have, they take the maximum 4 bench spots, and they'll have someone who's really looking at stats, looking at how the other team's lining up, which jammers they're using, with which blockers, which pivots, and where they're getting out, and they'll start really analysing as the game goes on. Perhaps that's how Sheffield will go back in this. Perhaps they've got someone on the bench who's saying, right, actually, when it's this jammer,
this is what we need to do.
They're always doing this, so we're going to have to, if we line up like this, we're going to have a better chance of keeping them contained.
So Lucy now choosing to run the jam. Lucy has, I'm informed, had 100% lead percentage so far in this half. 5 out of 5 jams. And Comic Slams has star passed 3 out of their 4 jams. Ooh.
And that was a cut. So that is our first jammer penalty.
That is. I was passed a note a minute ago that said we haven't had any jammer penalties, and I declined to read it out because that's the announcer
who wanted to be the one to curse it? Yeah. So that is our first jammer penalty. So that's our first power jam of the game, and we've had 24 minutes of it. Newcastle. Oh, it looks like it's a.
It was a back
There
block.
we go, and we have a jammer switcheroo. So no jammer penalties to 2 in 1 jam, and 1 from each jammer. So we will have this jam will go for the full 2 minutes. There's 30 seconds remaining.
I think that. Oh yeah, so we are out and back on. So obviously, for those of you who might be watching this who are new to roller derby, a penalty is generally 30 seconds. But if one of the jammers gets a penalty and then the other one goes to the box while the first jammer's in there, we can't have roller derby with no jammers. It's really boring. The blockers just stand there. Sometimes they dance, but not always. So the first jammer that went to the box will be released when the second jammer sits. But then to keep things fair, they only have to serve the same amount of time as the first jammer sat. So if 3-3-3 went to the box and sat for 10 seconds, and then the Sheffield jammer Newcastle jammer went in, then they'll only do 10 seconds as well. I explained that really badly.
Well, we do have an official review. Just wait to see if the NSO points. Yes, the NSO is pointing to Sheffield, so this is an official review called by Sheffield.
Newcastle have used theirs. They used it 9 minutes into the half.
And they lost it, didn't they? That's
right.
They did.
Yes. Yeah, you only get 1 unless you win, and then you get to retain it, but only once. Which is I think they brought that in a little, not that long ago.
Okay.
So you can only retain your official review once per half. I've not seen ever in 10 years in roller derby a need to have that rule, because you very rarely see official reviews get 1, and I don't know that I've ever seen somebody win 2 in 1 half.
2 on the trot, yeah.
So there you go. Please feel free to tweet me if you can tell me about something that happened. We will eagerly wait to see.
If Riggs sends us an update on what that was for. We're just gathering together to discuss what it is. Sheffield will say what they feel has happened or hasn't happened, depending on what they want to get overturned.
It's another quite high-scoring jam, that one. 16 points
16 to
and
12.
Yeah. 53-point differential between these teams, with just over 4.5 minutes left of this half. So 3-1-4, Lucy has scored 64 of Newcastle's points. That is nearly half of them.
Yes, yeah. That would be just under half the points from 1 jammer.
Yeah, that's quite impressive.
I say, if you've got someone on the bench who's looking at those stats, you go, right, this. I mean, even without a piece of paper, I'm sure they can look at that and go, Lucy's doing really well. She's the one we need to shut
this jammer down. We need to put out a power lineup, or switch things around a little bit, or just maybe, 4 defence off the line and just get them held and get our, or more offence for our jammer when that jammer is playing.
So Sheffield are requesting an illegal procedure for a Newcastle skater, as they did not leave track at the earliest opportunity.
Interesting. I've seen this a couple of times this weekend so far, where skaters haven't quite left the track. I haven't seen anyone called on a penalty for it so far. It hasn't quite been egregious enough to warrant a penalty, maybe. But yeah, if you get called on a penalty, you need to leave the track at the earliest available opportunity. You can't hang around and do anything like... I've seen it in the past where someone's taken a star pass and then they're not the jammer, and then they wait and like stand, I've got to give you the star back. No, you need to go to the box. And you can't skate along the skateaway on the track to get to the box.
No,
you need to leave, exit, and skate around the ref lane without hitting any refs.
Well, I'm guessing as no Newcastle blockers have been sent to the penalty box, that official review was lost. I'll just see if we've had that officially confirmed.
So,
Yeah, and that is Wince through and lead jammer for Sheffield, but the Rottweiler is only a quarter of a track behind.
A little bit of juking and jiving going into that pack there. I wasn't sure if we were going to get an apex jump, but we didn't.
Oh.
Yeah, really nice footwork. Oh,
Great jammer on jammer action there as Wince takes the Rottweiler out.
There's the apex jump. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lovely, absolutely stunning.
True style there. Just complete the apex jump, and then as soon as you land there, hit those hips. Thank you. I'm done.
Well, it just really needed finger guns, and that was it, really, didn't it? That would have been 10 out of 10. That's a good way to get yourself a really solid smack on the next pass when you do finger guns on the way out the pack.
I know with that not leaving track thing, I've found out recently it's now called an illegal procedure rather than insubordination.
Okay.
Used to get an insubordination penalty for it. Now they've said, well, perhaps they haven't heard us, haven't done anything. So if they don't leave, anyway, it's an illegal procedure now.
Yeah.
It's not considered you're insubordinate.
You were not doing it deliberately to be rude. We're just not following the rules.
Yeah. Oh, and that is Eradicate, who's gone to the penalty box for a forearm. So it's a power jam for Sheffield and Infamy. But Newcastle are holding Infamy back, still on their initial pass. Sheffield looking at doing some offence, clearing that inside line, but a big hit there from Newcastle's pretty skate machine.
But Infamy was like, oh, now I'm gone. See you later. Lull them into a false sense of security.
And Eradicate is back on track and now engaged in that tripod at the back.
That is a solid wall, but Infamy just pushing and pushing, making it through, picking up the 4 points.
Sheffield now, they were saying, is that they need to lock down that Newcastle jam, and this jam so far, that's what they've been doing. They've been reforming, getting in front of that jam. They were at the back, the jammers got through, but they've got blockers round, been able to pick them up, and
I wonder what was happening there. It's the end of the jam.
And Sheffield have called the jam, yeah.
So, looks like the jam has just stopped and is skating the wrong way around the track. What happened? The jam ended. There's a lot of whistles in this hall because we've got games on 2 tracks, so it's sometimes a bit confusing because you hear 4 whistles and everyone's still playing, and then you realise it's the whistles on the other track. So
that was a 7-point jam to Sheffield. So that edges them closer to the 100 mark. I think that would be a good.
That would be.
Thing, this half, if they get over that 100, and both be in the hundreds, it will make it feel like a much closer game. Right,
absolutely.
It is a close game.
It is a close game now. That's still only 42 points now. We're back to 42. Ooh, swing and a miss. Lovely bit of toe stops on the inside line. Yeah.
Getting through and calling that, so that's a 4-point apiece jam. It's that 43 points. So this last 15 minutes or so, it's been a really even game. It's been very, very close these last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and actually quite a lot of the way through we've had that similar kind of 40-point differential, and then Newcastle will get a couple of big jams and pull away a bit, and then Sheffield bring it back.
That's Wince up against Lucy. Wince at the back, just trying to get down the outside, but just knocked slightly. Still on track, and that is Lucy is through and lead jammer for Newcastle.
So Wince with a great awareness, immediate star stash, ready to pass to the pivot, who can't get close enough to take it without coming back behind on blockers, and that's suboptimal.
Invincible with the pivot stripe on.
Lovely bit of offence there
from Drama Bomb.
Yeah,
Drama Bomb. Been in the mix quite a bit with offence and defensive work.
Yeah, really great switch there from offence to defence as well up at the front when Wince did manage to get past the wall. So there we are, 11 points, big jam for Newcastle going into that going into half time, sorry. So 151 points, plays 97, and Sheffield still have never looked out of it at this point, but Newcastle have been solidly in control through this game. They've never really let anything slide, I don't think.
That's it, yeah. They got to that kind of 40 points difference, and then since then they've held it there or just increased it now to 50. They've not let Sheffield get back into this game. They've
teased them with it a couple of times.
They'll go out and they'll get a big jam. If Sheffield pick up a big jam, Newcastle will go out and get one fairly soon after as well. Sheffield haven't had lots of jams on the trot where they've been racking up the points and holding Newcastle back. So it's been, they've got to the 40 points and it's just kind of flip-flopped around there with who's getting lead, who's going to, but Newcastle, yes, are very much in control.
Yeah. So we've just got 10 minutes on the half-time in this game. I think we might be running a little bit behind schedule, so we are going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. I think the second half of this game might be very exciting. We will see you in 8 minutes. So, good afternoon. Welcome back to Game 6 of Five Nations playoffs this year in Stoke-on-Trent. We've got Newcastle Canny Belters playing Sheffield Steel Roller Derby, and our score when we went into half-time was 151 points to Newcastle, 97 to Sheffield. I'm Payne Bowen. I'm here with the lovely Tom Bowler, and we've got Mr. Hazard producing for us and passing us stats that make us sound like super clever people who are paying attention. So speaking of which, one of those stats was that 314 Lucy for Newcastle had 100% lead in the first half of the game. So 7 out of 7 jams they got lead, and they scored 75 points, which you don't need super good maths to be able to see is basically 50% of the points that Newcastle have got up on the board from one jammer.
That is some impressive jamming there, and it is going to be Lucy who starts the second half for Newcastle with a star.
And that looks like Comic Slams up for Sheffield Steel. So we're just waiting for our officials to get ready and for the clock to go to 0. And
I had the curse on my last feed where we talked about the jammer who had 100% lead jams in the first half, and then the first jam of the second half they didn't get lead.
You ruined it. That was your fault. You
fault.
broke it.
I talked about the stats. I said, oh yes, they were 100% in the first half.
Yeah.
30 seconds later, oh.
No lead jammers for you in the second half.
In fact, I think it was the first 2 jams they didn't get lead. It was like, oh, I've really doomed you.
Yes, we don't talk about no jammer penalties or anything. And actually, speaking of penalties, looking at the stats, we haven't got anybody in any penalty trouble at the moment. We've got a few people, 0-0-0 drama bomb, that is for Newcastle, and 1038 Fraulein Catastic, who are on 3 penalties. And then same again for Sheffield, we've got 333, which is Invincible, and number 5, which is Madjusa, who are also on 3 penalties. But Madjusa has been one of their absolute standout blockers for Sheffield Steel so far.
And same with Drama Bomb for Newcastle, I think.
So, you just, if you are always that last line of defence, and you are one of the big hitters, one of the really strong blockers, then you do just occasionally pick up a couple more penalties. And three penalties at half-time is not a big deal.
I was going to say acceptable, but it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to have penalties.
Absolutely unacceptable to get penalties ever. But if you are, going to get penalties in a game, 3 or 4 is fine. We've got a few other people on 1 or 2, but looks like overall 18 penalties spread out across Newcastle and 14. I think that is across Sheffield, unless I'm just looking at numbers that are completely unrelated to the running totals. I don't know. Yeah, that is right. Yeah, 18 for Newcastle. Just did some quick counting there in my head.
Quick maths.
Quick maths. So we are just waiting to start this jam. Hopefully we haven't had another scoreboard falling over incident like we had this morning. So we've got another Sheffield team playing next, because of course Hallam, who are playing in the next game against Rebellion.
Rebellion, yes.
Hallam also from Sheffield. So we could see, if Rebellion beat Hallam, we could see a Sheffield versus Hallam match up
We could,
tomorrow
yes.
for that game. So I think that'll be an exciting game.
A local
as well.
derby.
Yeah.
A local derby in roller derby.
Imagine driving. Sheffield's not that far away from here, isn't it? Imagine if you drove like miles and miles and miles away to play a team that like down the road.
Yeah.
We once from Milton Keynes drove all the way to Plymouth to play against Oxford, which is like a 4.5-hour drive to play a team that are from like 45 minutes away. But we got a fun road trip out of it. It was fine.
Yeah, I think Birmingham last year were due to go to Dublin to play Milton Keynes or something like that. And it's like one of the closest teams to you, and you're going to travel across the sea to go and play
them. Just go, maybe
in a different country.
Maybe
Brilliant.
we don't. Yeah.
Okay, so we are ready to get this second half underway, and all the blockers heading towards the pivot line. So both jammers getting a bit of a run up, and there we go. Look, I've done it. The curse is there.
The curse is there. No more 100% lead record for Lucy. You've ruined it. You are the jammer killer. Ruining jammers' dreams without even being anywhere near the track.
I'm going to take that as my new derby now. I am the jammer killer now.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can do it when I play as well.
So was that call off from Sheffield? 1 point picked up there by Newcastle in that jam.
So even though they didn't get lead, oh no, there we go.
There
Three
points for Sheffield.
And that gets them to the 100 mark.
So that is an easy points differential, even if you're really bad at maths.
Go on then, what is it?
53. 52 points. So Spangled and Wince on the jam line. That's another lead jam for Sheffield.
Trying to get through, and gets past Betty, gets past Kirk, and then gets past Cherry Thunder.
Ooh.
So yeah, Sheffield there not.
I didn't see who that
no.
hit was, but that was a full-on airborne, I think. That was Newcastle being like, all right, you got lead jammer in the first jam of this jam, you got lead jammer, that's enough.
Yeah.
This is our game.
Well, yeah, it's also Sheffield there. The Newcastle jammer got past the 3 Sheffield blockers because they were all separated out. They weren't together as a unit. She got past one blocker, then the next blocker, then the next blocker, because they were just in a line on the track.
Yeah, just taking it in turns to try and show them that outside line rather than contain. Contain, don't yeet. Are we going to see Infamy up at the front now? That is 3 lead jams in a row for Sheffield. I don't know what they had at half time.
I will have some of that, please.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's a big hit there from Fraulein Katastic. Just taking Infamy off on the side, and again just taking it off to the outside of that turn.
And Newcastle losing a blocker to the penalty box for a forearms penalty.
Well, kind of a change there for Sheffield. They got through, picked up the 4 points and called it straight away. Whereas in the... Oh no, I thought they'd called it, and then they have, yes.
They have called it. Some confusion there because, again, like I say, we've got 2 tracks in this, so there was definitely flappy hip tapping going on. I wonder if some people thought the opposite of what we thought earlier, rather than thinking the other whistles were this track, we thought this track's whistles were the other track and thought we'd carry on playing. Or Sheffield still were having so much fun that they didn't want to stop. Mr. Hazard says they've had their Weetabix at half-time. Seems likely. But Newcastle now coming out spangled with lead jammer, but Comic Slams is out now too, so half a lap behind. Sheffield look like they've dropped 2 blockers to the penalty box, so that was a very easy 4-point scoring pass, but not taking the risk on trying to get any more. So Sheffield still will be starting the next jam 2 blockers down again, which isn't ideal.
It's going to end. They're going to be up against Lucy, who until recently had 100%.
And what happened there?
Wow. Well, what happened was the Sheffield defence actually managed to contain her for the first time in this game.
Wince looking like they were trying to do a little bit of defensive jamming there, just getting uncomfortably close to Lucy. That's Manchester picking up another penalty there. Off for a sit down for a multiplayer block this time. So Sheffield just need to get a little bit of control over this penalty spiral now. As we said earlier, you start dropping down to only having 2 blockers on the track, and you're really giving it everything to try and contain the jammer with only 2 of you, and that can lead to more penalties. Invincible there trying to with the big long run back. Really good awareness from them to see that just half a wheel, couple of wheels went over the line. That's enough running back. Newcastle tried to shut that down, but she got carried on.
With that 7 points, you know, they're at 60-point lead now. You don't want to take the risk of giving up a power jam to.
No, play it safe. If you're not sure, go back. Or Newcastle in that situation, having picked up 3 of the 4 points, decided not to go back and repass them. Unfortunately, if you earn all the points from those blockers and then you get recycled, you don't get another 4 points.
You don't, I know.
It just seems
rude. I got
rude.
through them twice. It's not fair.
So Newcastle with lead jammer again. That's the Rottweiler now picking up lead. Infamy your jammer for Sheffield Steel. So Newcastle now stamping their foot down and saying, look, that's it, we're stopping this runaway now.
But Infamy is out and the Rottweiler is through on their scoring pass and calls that jam. That was a 4-0 in favour of Newcastle.
So Sheffield have got 4 blockers back on the track now. We have got a full complement, full 80 wheels on the track. And Spangled up against Comic Slams.
And it is Spangled who is out and lead jammer for Newcastle.
Yeah, about 7 seconds into the jam. Picking up lead jammer and coming round now already on that scoring pass. Just 2 to beat now. Luna and Kit Kat up at the front. 1 now.
Oh, they went down, so straight back on and through.
That was a really, really solid, lovely bit of blocking from Luna. That was a real shame.
Yeah, picking up a blocking out of bounds penalty there. Whilst we also have Drama Bomb in for Newcastle. We've had a star pass for Sheffield. It's now Majusa with the star for Sheffield.
But has gone to the penalty box, I think.
Indeed, yes, gone to the penalty box as the jammer for a C. Which one's C? I've left my crib sheet somewhere else.
I know all of the other ones. I'm gonna look it up now. I thought it was a cut. I wondered if it was a cut but a cut's next.
So that was a 16-point jam to Newcastle. That really has extended their lead quite a bit now. 80 points over Sheffield. Those last few jams really impressive for Newcastle picking up. So it was.
So it's an illegal contact penalty.
Illegal contact penalty.
So generally see that for initiating contact when either you or the person you're initiating contact on is not on track.
Indeed.
Can be assessed for other things. Somebody's down is the other one. So either somebody is on the floor, not upright, or in bounds, and you've initiated contact on them, or you weren't upright and in bounds when you initiated contact on somebody, so you've been knocked down on the floor and you've stood up into somebody.
Yeah, we have a team timeout now. That was called by Newcastle, who will be starting the next jam with a power jam start.
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to try and really capitalise on this, because normally when you start on a power jam start and the jammer is the pivot, I don't know if you want to give them a rest, and they've just scored 16 points in that jam, so it's not about breaking the momentum. So I wonder if they're really going out now. They're going to go out really hard in this jam and say, actually, we're gonna try and make this like a 24-point jam.
And Sheffield have sent out Wince as the pivot, so one of their normal main
Jammers,
rotation jammers has been sent out.
Again,
so
pros and cons to that decision. You've got somebody who's perfectly poised to take a star pass, but that person might also not be a block. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some jammers are also, irritatingly, some of really good jammers are also really good blockers.
Wince showing there that they're pretty good at it. Yep, getting back and now looking at going to do some offense.
There
We'll take the star. There we go. Nice star pass. Nice and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a good choice. That was a really good choice from Sheffield and a really good penalty shutdown. Newcastle only got 4 points. That will be really disappointing for Newcastle.
On a power jam start, they would have been looking to capitalise on that.
Yeah, that would have been a really nice opportunity. I mean, they're still 84 points in front, so I don't imagine that they're going to cry themselves to sleep over that one jam. But I think they will feel there's a bit of a missed opportunity there. So Infamy jamming for Sheffield, Lucy, and Lucy is your lead jammer. But Infamy, very quick out behind.
Forearms penalty signal there by a referee. Just slide through. Here I am on my knees. I'm going to call that jam now.
Yeah. It was a really nice bit of offence, really well taken by Lucy, but had so much speed going into that change of direction that it was a real effort to stay on 1 foot all the way around that apex and pick up the points. Because, of course, if you drop to your knee and you glide around that corner on your knee, you don't get any of the points.
No, you have to
You've got to be on your wheels. You can't crawl through the pack. They won't let you. Feels like it would be a lot easier if you were allowed to do that. So Comic Slams for Sheffield, Spangled for Newcastle. 1 Sheffield blocker in the box on a forearms penalty.
That's Luna Trick in the penalty box, and it is Comic Slams who is now through for Sheffield as Spangled comes around on their first scoring pass. And they are calling that, having picked up a few points, 3 points picked up.
So Newcastle just tickling that double century now. So they've really opened that gap up in these last few jams. And that big 16-point jam we saw just before the power jam.
So they were 50 points up at half time. They're now 91 up after 10 minutes of this half. So same as the first half, they put on real big display at the start of the half, really pushed off. Let's see what happens in the rest of this half. You know, in the first half, Sheffield kind of got to the point where they equalled everything out.
Yeah. Newcastle put up a big jam here or there, but Sheffield were otherwise managing to come back and maintain that difference. But we are at the point now, we are close to halfway through this second half with what is now pushing a 100-point differential. Sheffield do also have Majdusa on 5 penalties, which is not terrible at the moment, but 1 more, and you know, that's starting to look a little bit like you want to be asking yourself if you want to keep playing that blocker that's on 6 penalties, because of course if they foul out when they get that 7th penalty, that's it for the rest of that jam.
Yes.
For that person. So you could find yourself playing 1.5 minutes with only 3 blockers on the track. So we are just going into jam 12. Sheffield have not scored any points since jam 4 of this half. So 8, this would make 8 jams with no points. but probably not, because Infamy has managed to pick up lead jammer.
Yeah, so a chance for Sheffield to change that story now and get some points on the board. This time they're looking at holding.
I think that was the Rottweiler being sent to the penalty box.
Yeah.
So we have a power jam in favour of Sheffield Steel.
And that's Rottweiler's first penalty, picking up a cut track. So a power jam for Infamy. Finds that space down the inside line. Good work there from the Sheffield blockers just to keep that inside line clear for their jammer.
I love that little bit of like dummy offence where you go in for the offence on the outside line and they all follow you to the outside line and leave the inside open for the jammer. It's great.
And Rottweiler out of the box.
Look at that, just really great squeeze. So Newcastle did some lovely offence there and really kind of squeezed round the Sheffield blockers to shut that down. But in doing so, didn't have a chance to switch back to defence again in time to stop Infamy, who was able to scoot on through for another 4 points. So 16 points for Sheffield in that jam. Quite good. That's got to be a good feeling. That is what they need for them. So 79 points the difference now with 16 minutes left on the clock. That will feel nice, that jam. I imagine that'll be a really good boost. Let's have 3 or 4 more of those. And a nice little reminder to Newcastle that they do need to be careful.
Yeah. Although Lucy once again getting out as lead jammer for Newcastle. Round on scoring pass, skipping down the inside, but just taken off by Kit Kat there to the inside.
But coming on back through, one of the things he said this morning was that sometimes taking the jammer off and recycling to them and back again actually just gives them a run up.
Yes.
And gives them the momentum they need for them to just then get straight through.
That's it. Sometimes it's better just to hold the jammer there. If you've got them, just hold them there on the line. Don't
keep them contained.
Yeah. They'll run back. You'll run back. You'll be split out, and they'll have a run up. You won't necessarily be a cohesive unit anymore, and they'll get through, whereas you could have just held them on. It's not all about big hits and recycling. It's about containing that jammer and making sure they can't score points. Yeah,
absolutely. So Newcastle have 2 blockers in the penalty box at the moment, and Sheffield one. So we are 2 blockers and 2 blockers now. So everyone's gone for a sit down.
Yeah, including Mad Juicer. So that puts Mad Juicer on those 6 penalties that we were talking about as a danger point. So
that is, so that does put Mad Juicer on 6 now.
Also Lunatrix now on 5 as well. So
I mean, the nice thing is Mad Juicer's penalties are all different. We've got a multiplayer, a forearms, a direction, another multiplayer, that illegal contact penalty, and now a high block.
Newcastle responding to Sheffield's 16-point jam with a 20-point jam of their own. Sheffield picking up 8 points, but that's still a big scoring jam for Newcastle. It's taken them over the 200 mark.
Oh, we've got an official review.
Official review called by Newcastle. See if we can get an update on what the official review is that Newcastle are requesting. There is only a Sheffield blocker in the box, and they are standing. So whatever Newcastle are calling for, will be for a penalty. It's going to be for a penalty to be assessed to someone, rather than to get someone out of there.
Usually to get something assessed to the jammer or
rescinded
from your jammer. But I did say, I'm loath to say like no one uses official reviews on blockers, because actually the Cambridge bench coach did this morning to try and get a penalty. That's new. Haven't seen anyone win an official review yet today either. So.
I've not seen one yet. No. So hopefully, maybe we've cursed that or not cursed it. Whatever the opposite of cursing is.
Blessing, I think.
Maybe we get announcers
we
blessing.
We will bless you with a successful official review. I think Big Whoop might have something to say about us deciding that we can bless people with official review outcomes.
It's not about what you saw; it's whether we deem it.
We deemed it worthy. It's like apparently they won't let me give jammers an extra 5 points for a really good apex jump.
There should be style points.
There should be style points. If there were, I would get absolutely 0 of them. But I did once have a dream that I could apex jump, and I was so sad when I woke up.
Okay, so not sure. I just see that the Newcastle captain has a penalty. So Newcastle's captain is Pretty Skate Machine, and there is someone sat in the box. I'm not sure if that's a penalty that was given late or whether that's. Well, I can't believe Newcastle would have called an official review and then got one of their own blockers put in the box. So, although we have seen it where someone will call an official review and then the rest will go off and talk about it and go, no, we didn't see that, but we did see something that your team did wrong.
Yes.
And we're going to send one of your players to the box. Like,
yes.
No, that's not what I called it for.
Yeah. So Lucy doesn't have a 100% lead for the entire game anymore, in fact in this half, but is still Newcastle's highest scoring jammer with 28 points in this half, but very closely followed by Spangled, who has put up 23 points.
So actually the official review is actually called by Sheffield. That's my error. I looked at the wrong bench, so it's Sheffield that called the official review. They are looking for a penalty on the Newcastle jammer. Stayed in bounds using an out-of-bounds skater.
Allegedly.
Allegedly is the call there. So the jammers stayed in bounds, but they've used someone who's off track.
Yeah, so that's an illegal assist, effectively.
Illegal assist, yeah. So we will know if that's been a successful review. If the Newcastle start the next jam with a jammer in the penalty box. If they don't, then Sheffield will have lost their official review.
So Sheffield have put up 31 points in this half, as opposed to the 59 points in this half put up by Newcastle. Still actually 59-31 in this half.
It doesn't
seem like a big difference,
no,
does it?
It's 28.
28 points. It's
But that's on top of the 51 that there were at half time. So that's
so we're adding 30 points added onto a 50-point differentials, and you go, that's.
And we are there, but
But they can go away and they can look at these things and go, actually, again, the scoreline doesn't tell the story of the game all the time, and Sheffield have put up a really good fight. They've had some really good jams, done some cracking work.
So we have Spangled against Wint. So as Newcastle do have a jammer in this jam and lead as well. Spangled is lead. Then the Sheffield official review was lost, and therefore they will not retain their official review. Just stepped out there on the inside and then decides to call it rather than go through all those skaters again. Had already picked up the 4 points.
We were about to go, that was lovely toast up work, and then it was, that was denied. So Sheffield now have 2 skaters who are in a little bit of penalty trouble. Manchester and also number 6 Lunatric is sitting on 5 penalties.
Whereas Newcastle at the moment, they've got 3 skaters on 4 skaters all on 4 penalties. With 13 minutes left, you'd think that it'll take something spectacular to.
We've got a power jam. So Infamy has picked up a cut track penalty and will be taking a seat in the penalty box.
Not what Sheffield needed at this stage.
No, especially with Invincible also picking up a forearms penalty, although Newcastle have lost 2 skaters to the box.
The pack just being spread out there as they try and look to extend it for as long as possible. Slow that jammer down, just make it take them a few more seconds to get through.
So Infamy now back on the track, nearly managed to keep Newcastle napping there. You could hear the bench coach shouting at them. So we've had 3 power jams in favour of Newcastle. I am reliably informed Sheffield had only had 1 power jam in their favour.
Wow.
So speaking of those penalties, as you said, that does leave Fraulein Katastic is now sitting on 5 penalties.
And Newcastle are sitting on a 99-point lead as we have an official timeout.
Everyone on the track looks very ready to get started immediately, though.
Yeah.
Stay in our tripod, poised and ready to go. So, if you are not here this weekend, why not come down and have a look at everything? But if you are too far away from Stoke-on-Trent, then please tell all your friends to sign up and buy stream passes. Maybe have a little watch party, watch your favourite skaters. We've got 2 juniors games tomorrow, which I'm really excited about.
Yep.
Which I think I mentioned. So there will be Newcastle juniors and Sheffield juniors.
And Borderland Beasts and
Demonburg.
Demonburg.
Yeah.
Demonburg.
So.
Demonburg from Edinburgh.
Okay. I knew they were from Scotland.
Yeah, so it's, yeah.
That makes more sense now, Demonburg.
Yeah, so that's the first time they'll have had JRDA at playoffs. So that's really good for the junior game.
Yeah.
Seeing that grow, and certainly with the Team GB stuff coming up, and they're already, not only are they prepping for the World Cup this year, they've got a squad already training for the 2027 World Cup.
Fantastic.
Which will be in Scotland, so a lot less distance for people to travel from the UK.
But quite far for the Australian teams to travel.
Yeah. Well, you know, which is fair enough. And American teams have to travel all over the world.
So Rottweiler is your lead jammer while we talk about the game that's happening instead of the ones that are happening tomorrow and in 2027. We've got a power jam now. Rottweiler has picked up a cut track penalty, so this is going to be a 2-minute jam. Comic Slams surfing through on 1 foot there to pick up 4 points. Sheffield have got 2 blockers in the penalty box again, both on forearms penalties. We are loving the forearms today. Let's try and see if Sheffield can pick up some points. Little smile from the jammer there to our blockers. Can I have some help, please?
No, you can't, because Rottweiler's back on track and we need to do our job of stopping her getting her out. So that's Rottweiler completing a scoring pass, having been lead jammer before picking up the cut track penalty.
This Newcastle defence is solid. Absolutely solid. Comic Slams has moved about 10 foot up the track in the last minute,
and
I
in
think.
that time, Newcastle put 8 points on the board. Doing a great job of just shutting down that Sheffield jammer, Comic Slams.
So I think that's the second star pass we've had to Kirk in this game. Quick, put it back on.
Oh yes,
you have to be wearing it to score points
if you don't have it on.
It's really easy to forget to do that.
A 14.28 jam in favour of Newcastle, taking the score to 245 playing 140. It's a 105-point lead to Newcastle. And we've got just over 9 minutes remaining of this game. And we are going to see Wince for Sheffield up against Lucy, I believe it is.
Oh, who got
lead?
no.
Oh, no. Oh, and
back block.
As Wince got a back block. So Lucy is lead and on a power jam for Newcastle. That tripod just trying to shut down her route through, but able to find some space on the inside line. Around again on a scoring pass. Just breaking up those Sheffield blockers. Once again, getting through by them not being together. Now
yeah, their tripods just haven't been quite as cohesive as Newcastle's have been.
Yeah.
So Wince now out of the box with the star in hand, completes the initial.
And a shout there from Newcastle. Get points and calls.
Points.
So the blockers all went on the offence really quickly to try and get their jammer through for the points, knowing that it'd be called before they needed to go back and do any defensive
yeah,
work.
exactly. At that point, bin off defence because we're going to call the jam before the jammer gets here. What we need to focus on is doing that offence, getting our jammer through, maximising the amount of points that our jammer can get, but also maximising the amount of time that our jammer has to get those points by getting to the front and protecting our own points, giving them an extra bit of space to get those points. Can really easily turn what would otherwise have been a 1-0 jam into a 4-0 jam.
Sheffield starting with 2 blockers in the box. One of those is Luna Trick, who's now on 6 penalties, along with Majusa, who's on 6.
So lots going on there. That was a roll. That is a penalty being called on Infamy. Hasn't popped there as a forearms penalty, has been called on Infamy. I did think that looked like there was a penalty there.
Oh, and a slide to the outside. So he's spread-eagled on the floor and then deciding to call it, thinking, well, we'll take the power jam start rather than go back through that pack again.
Yeah.
Let's have the power jam start.
Yeah. Picked up only 2 of the 4 points in that pass, but still probably not worth going back. And having to do all of that same amount of work again just to not earn any extra points. So yeah, like you say, take the power jam start.
And it is Eradicate with the star and the power jam start. Trying to come down the inside line, then Dukes to the outside. Great movement there to get through and lead jam for Eradicate.
So this the 4th power jam in Newcastle's favour now. All of them in this half, I think.
Yes, yeah. I think we cursed it again, didn't we, by saying there'd been no.
No, I deliberately didn't say there hadn't been any jammer penalties, but
we didn't. That's right, we didn't.
Mr. Hazard did write it down on a piece of paper, and I saw it. I thought about it, and that was enough.
Perhaps that's how good we are. Even our thoughts can curse this. That jam has been called. The medics are going on to the track.
So 5 minutes now just left in this game. So just a reminder that unless Sheffield manage to put up 130 something points in the next 5 minutes, they will be going on to play at 1:30 tomorrow, play the losing team from the next game this afternoon, which is Rebellion versus Hallam, and the winners of this game will play at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon against the winners of the next game to decide which one of these teams gets promotion to WFTDA Tier 1.
So we have quite a good crowd who have made it to Stoke to watch these games. You can see there's quite a lot of people sat on the side there.
We've got some great merch tables here and some great stands. We've got merch from the teams. We've got Hive Skate Store, who've got a sale on boots at the moment. I'm staying well away from the temptation to buy. I already bought new skates this year. I will be divorced with too many pairs of skates if I go over there. We've got Skate Good Club with their lovely scrim tops showing off their wares and their helmet covers and armbands that they've started making. We've got some great t-shirts. Again, I own enough t-shirts so I can wear a different one every day for like 6 months. I'll probably go and buy more.
But I've got so many t-shirts I could wear one for, but I end up wearing the same 10 over and over again.
Over and over again. Why don't you get rid of the ones you don't wear? But I might wear them.
You never know when you're going to need that one.
You haven't worn it for 5 years, yes, but I might want to wear it tomorrow.
Yes.
I did turn a bunch of old Derby shirts into a blanket a little while ago.
I've got a friend who's just done that, made a great big quilted blanket of t-shirts from years and years of being in roller derby. In fact, it was Baby who played earlier on track 1 for 7 Roller Torrent.
That was a great game.
Yes, that was a good game, and she's made a great big blanket of all the t-shirts from the years and years she's been in roller derby.
Yeah, I think I'm nearly ready to make another one to sew on the back of it to make another half.
Oh, then you could stuff it, make a great big cushion.
Oh, it's so tempting. Okay, so it looks like we've got a blocker from each team in the penalty box. Blocker from Sheffield standing in the box, pivot from Newcastle seated, and Lucy on the jam line for Newcastle, and Wince jamming for Sheffield, and that's Lucy getting lead jammer. But Wince with the little bean dip round the outside line, managing to get past. Lucy slices through the pack, picking up 4 points. Are they going to run it? Looks like they are going to run it and try and get their pivot out of the penalty box.
Yeah, they've got a pivot and another blocker in the box as well now. So that's Drama Bomb, who's the pivot, has just come out of the box, and Helen Drew is in as well.
Lucy crawling off the track a little bit there, going back to the old rules. Do you remember when you couldn't stand up on the track?
Oh,
like
yes,
if you were upright, that was a cut track. If you apex jumped and you missed, cut track.
Yeah.
And then we went, you know what, actually that's a bit silly.
Yeah, I think it was.
We just give you a chance to yield.
The yielding thing was one of the best changes they made to the rules.
100%.
Oh, that was an 8 apiece jam. So Newcastle getting lead and running it to clear the penalty box. Just exchanging points with Sheffield at this stage of the game with just under 4 minutes left and a lead of 127 points. You can kind of do that, and you can just exchange these points.
We can run the clock down a little bit now. So Comic Slams is lead jammer for Sheffield. Eradicate just being recycled a little bit there on the outside line, being held up by that Sheffield wall.
Yeah, this time that Sheffield wall kind of staying together, and that's good as well. They've reformed as a 3. One of the 3 got knocked off. The floater kind of came back. The spare one came back just to cover that.
Being very flexible in their rotation. So now that's a big run back. That's Mad Juicer again, who's been absolutely solid in this game. Really, really strong blocker.
Although you notice that Sheffield have got both Mad Juicer and Lunatric on track.
Yeah.
In this jam, which when they're both on 6, could go horribly wrong. You could end up, if they both got a penalty early on, you could end up with a jam with just 2 blockers for quite some time.
Oh, and that's the first time Newcastle have done a star pass.
Wow.
So yeah, good from them, shutting that down a little bit. But Sheffield putting 8 points up. So absolutely still fighting that. Is that they've put Sheffield have put Kirk out to jam.
Yeah, so Kirk has been
taking a couple of star passes.
So give them a chance from the start to see what they can do. And
that was
staying
lovely.
Down the inside, staying down there, and getting lead jam as well. So good decision. But
that feels great when you go out and you're normally a pivot and you're like, okay, I'll do a jam, and you get lead and you're like, yeah, I'm amazing. True jammer, side surfing round, coming out backwards. And the crowd are absolutely loving it. I don't know how much you can hear down our microphones, but some big cheers going around there as Kirk picks up those points. Oh, and that was a huge hit to the outside line there from Kell on wheels to the Rottweiler.
And Rottweiler's still on their initial, aren't they, I believe? So, no, that's not. So Kirk's calling that. Oh, there was a star pass to end that. So Newcastle's second star pass, 2 jams on the trot. They've
save it till the end.
Save it till the end, unless someone. We've got 48 seconds.
So this will almost certainly be the last jam of the game, because we will go into this jam with only about 10 seconds left on the clock.
I think if Sheffield can have another jam like that where they get 10 points, get the deficit to below 100, that's a kind of a target for this jam. But Lucy's going to try and make sure they can't do that. Yeah, Lucy gets lead jam, and I think, so that's a foul out now for Sheffield. Madjusa picks up a forearms penalty and fouls out. So Sheffield will only have 3 blockers for the remainder of this jam, and one of those, I said one of those 3 was in the box. They're now out. Newcastle have a jam blocker, Fraulein Fantastic, in the box, but that doesn't matter. The game has come to an unofficial end. 8 points to nothing in that jam for Newcastle. Score of 286 to 169. Nice.
If you are going to foul out of a game, the last jam is the time to do it.
Is to do it, yes.
So, what a game. Really, really well-deserved win from Newcastle. Really, really hard fought from Sheffield. They made Newcastle really, really work for that win.
Yeah, there was a time at the end of the first half was coming to end. We thought they were keeping them even. Perhaps they could just kick on and start the second half. And start the second half, they came out, had a few lead jams. I thought, okay, perhaps they might be able to do this. And then Newcastle just went, no, we're going to put an end to this. We are going to go out there and we are going to put some big scores on the doors. And we're going to take control of this game once and for all. And they have. They've won that with 117 points. So.
Yeah, really, really great game from both teams. Massive thanks to our officials' crews as well. We didn't get a chance to shout them out by name, but all our officials working really, really hard this weekend. Just 3 crews we've got covering both tracks, 16 games across
a lot of work.
The days.
So really appreciate all the work they do. And we appreciate you for joining in and watching and listening to us talk you through this game. I've been Tom Bowler, joined by Painbow. We've had an absolute blast this afternoon talking to you about roller derby. Oh, and also thanks to Mr. Hazard, who's been producing and supplying us stats. I forget about Haz. I see him all the time. He's just, much appreciated. Have a wonderful afternoon. Stay tuned for the next game.